Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, across our beautiful country of Canada, our friends around the world in the known and unknown universe. Welcome back to your favorite Angry Canadian on the 28th day of April 2024. Welcome to my nightmare. Man, the shit just doesn't drop or stop or whatever. Trying to pick a saying because there's so many things going on that we don't even hear about or isn't even part of any discussion. Do you realize that coming in May, the WHO wants to take over global health initiatives? They want to have control over every fucking country's healthcare system. Now, they're really tricky about how they're putting this. Oh, you're still going to be sovereign. Oh yeah, no problem. This is only if it's an emergency, and we have to do what we have to do. What a load of shit. And how many Canadians know that our healthcare will go into foreign hands? The World Health Organization kind of sounds like the World Economic Forum, the World Bank. The world, everything is changing, and people aren't aware of it. We're giving away our freedom. We're giving away our hope. And not me, I'm old, but think of the young people, what they're going to face. I mean, if the World Health Organization decides to put in a health passport or whatever they want, they can do it. It's up to them.
This means a supranational, unelected body could well have the power to impose restrictions on this country against the wishes of our national government. What does that mean? It means they could make us have vaccine passports, they could close the borders. It also means they could impose quarantine measures as well. Well, here to shed light on that is Molly Kingsley, who's writer and co-founder of Us For Them. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, brilliant. I'm delighted that you're here. Renee has obviously been in contact with you, and we're delighted that you're here. Could you just, I tried to summarise it there at the beginning, and I think what started off as a good piece of work by the politicians, they said, right, in the wake of COVID, we want to do something, we want to be prepared. And that work started when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister. It's morphed into something much, I think, more dangerous and darker.
I think that's absolutely right. And, a degree of international cooperation over pandemics and health issues, which do know no borders, that is a reality. That clearly makes sense. However, what is being proposed, or at least what was proposed in the last drafts of the documents made available to the public, which was over a year ago, and I'll come on to that in a second, but what was proposed went far, far beyond this. Now, you're right, David, that what is being talked about here is a pandemic treaty. Now, that is actually technically not entirely correct, because there are two documents. There's a pandemic treaty, and actually that is a document that contains really the framework provisions for this enhanced international cooperation. That treaty actually in itself is not the worst offender. There are a few concerning provisions in that agreement, but it is not terrible in broad summary. That document goes hand in hand with another set of proposals, and that is amendments to international health regulations. Now, it is this second document in which all the really scary things that you've mentioned, so, the powers that would be given to the WHO to impose mandatory quarantines, mandatory vaccination even, restrictions on travel, restrictions on personal freedom, also very wide censorship powers given to the WHO. Those documents are largely contained in this second agreement. There's a whole load of issues here. The first is that this agreement, the amendments to the international health regs, the last draft, as I mentioned, that was made available to parliamentarians and the public, was done so over a year ago. That draft is due to be updated and voted on in, rather unbelievably, a month from now. So we have this crazy situation where, according to the documents that were last seen by all of us and analysed by lawyers and all the rest of it, many, many serious flags in those documents which propose to do something almost unheard of. They really propose to restructure the international health architecture and they're not being made available to the public. So at the very least, those of us looking closely at this issue, and you're right, there are thankfully a number, small but growing contingent of MPs who are becoming alive to the threat that this poses to our national rule-making autonomy. At the very least, these documents need to be shelved, and we need to defer this process so that there is a proper time for review and scrutiny of these proposals.
Not us. Our voting, well, you can take your vote and shove it up your ass. That's about where we're heading now. There's no, it's not just about democracy. Democracy is the wrong term, but it's about freedom. Freedom. Why is your health information going to be available to the World Health Organization? That is not a government entity. It doesn't belong to any country or even the United Nations. It's a big corporation, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are big contributors, and I forgot who else. But everything is private, and they're taking over the fucking world. Hello? Now, how can people be so asleep, so clueless, not caring? And I can answer that question myself, even though I asked it. There's been a great effort put in by media. You cannot trust the fake, corrupt, lying media. It doesn't matter if it's government-oriented like CBC in Canada. They kiss Trudeau's cheeks, both sides of his ass. Or it doesn't matter if it's United States or whatever. It doesn't matter. We are giving up our freedom to launch. What a hellscape is being built. And the other thing that's happening that we don't talk enough about here in Canada is the global power switch is happening. No longer will the United States control everything. As a matter of fact, they probably won't even control themselves. They just lost, which makes them very dangerous if you think about it. Is the United States willing to live with China that becomes more powerful, or with Russia and China together being both economical and military superpowers, and the rest of the world is shunning America? Shunning. It's the BRICS. New monetary system is attracting countries all over. They're lining up to sign up. They want to depart from the US petrodollar. Petrodollar controlled everything because any oil purchase made had to be made in American dollars. So billions, trillions were converted to US dollars, which made the US dollar so dominant in the world. And I'm not going to go into the whole detail. There's people that can do that much better. But the simple fact is that the global power shift is happening. And can we expect the United States to tolerate it and put up with it? Shit, my face looks dark. It's just because I don't have good lighting in here. So, but I want to sit here. It's a kitchen table, by the way, looking out the window. But all of these things are playing on us. I, for one, believe that it's quite feasible. Conspiracy, yeah. Joe Conspiracy, that's who I am. It's quite feasible to imagine that as the United States is shut out of global power sharing, they're not going to be needed. Saudi Arabia is moving over to BRICS, or at least both BRICS and US petrodollar. But it's happening. It's happening. America is going down the drain. And what's going to happen to Canada in that long term? Is Canada going to go with the US? Or are we going to start exploring other alternatives? Well, I don't think that's a possibility. But going with the US is we have a liberal, neoliberal, globalist government. And that's not just Trudeau. That's going to be the same with Paul Revere. Pepe Le Pew. He's Pepe Le Pew. But it's going to be the same. And I think what's going to happen is that for survivability, Canada will be absorbed by the United States for our resource sector. We don't have much population. Our resources are what we have, whether it's oil, minerals, lumber. We're a resource sector, and we're also with the North Pole, the Arctic, which is also becoming a contentious issue. There's countries vying to take control of the Arctic because of all the oil underneath it. And also it's a supply route. There's a whole thing happening, and Russia seems to be leading that charge.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has surprised the world by revealing a plan to invest $700 billion in a major Arctic project. This initiative aims to reshape the region's economy and solidify Russia's position in Arctic resource exploration. Against a backdrop of global tensions and sanctions, Putin's announcement has sparked intense speculation. The scale of this project is unprecedented, surpassing even the largest infrastructure ventures of our time. From the Arctic's icy expanse, Russia aims to demonstrate its strength and technological advancement. As the world watches closely, questions arise about the motives behind this massive undertaking. Major projects like the Arctic LNG-2 terminal show Russia's determination to become a global energy superpower by using the region's oil and gas wealth. With melting polar ice, Putin sees an opportunity to reshape Arctic geopolitics and assert Russia's control over the northern sea route. By improving Arctic capabilities and infrastructure, Russia aims to dominate this important maritime route between Europe and Asia, gaining economic and strategic advantages. Putin's vision includes a major infrastructure overhaul in the Arctic. From building new ports and airfields to expanding icebreaker fleets, Russia is strengthening its presence and improving access to this once inaccessible area, paving the way for increased economic activities and resource exploitation. An important focus of this project is prioritizing energy exploration and production in the Arctic. Putin aims to utilize the region's abundant natural resources, especially through initiatives like the Arctic LNG-2 project, which involves building a liquefied natural gas LNG facility. This effort enhances Russia's energy security and positions it as a major player in the global energy market. Besides economic goals, Putin's Arctic strategy includes a significant military aspect. Russia is strengthening its military presence in the region by building new bases and improving Arctic coastal defense capabilities. This action responds to the growing accessibility and importance of the Arctic due to climate change.
While we're busy deciding, are you a male or a female? Because you can be whatever you want. Believe me, if you don't like being a man, declare yourself a woman. Or if you don't like being a woman, change your sex. It's that simple. And kids, don't go, through school being ridiculed and laughed at. You too can gender identify as a friggin' rock if you want. There's so many crazy stuff happening that is taking the Western people's attention off the real important things. They're important things. Why is the Western world supporting Israel during their genocide? It is what it is. I got nothing against Jewish people. I would have loved to gone to Israel on an extended holiday, go tour around, see what it's a historic place. But I cannot in any conscious support bombing schools, hospitals, apartments, whatever, bombing everything that's in your way, because you want to get that 5 terrorists in the building. So you're going to kill 200 or 300 people. By the way, they are finding mass graves now with medical people's hands bound behind their backs, patients, and tied behind their backs, and executed. Hundreds of people are turning up in mass graves. That is a war crime beyond scope. What is United Nations? Well, no, because in the Security Council you need all the votes, and you know that there's always countries, and it's not just the United States. United States will support Israel, but other countries support other entities. So it's all fucked up. We're heading nowhere fast, and it's a one-way street, folks. It's a one-way street, and when we hit the end, it will be the end. Now, I heard an interesting thing today. Blinken, he was telling China, when he was there just a day ago, that they should stop supporting Russia with technology, stuff that can be converted into military items, military, guidance on rockets, missiles, whatever. And that sounds, why should China continue supporting Russia? But then what I heard the commentators say is that they should have said to Blinken, yeah, we'll stop supporting Russia. We won't sell anything like that to them if you do the same with Israel. United States is supplying Israel with bombs, bullets, whatever, billions of dollars that is used to kill Palestinians, kill people in Gaza or anywhere else. I mean, Israel has, they always talk about the sanctity of borders and, it's a sovereign nation. You don't go attacking it or whatever. Israel don't give a shit about sovereignty. It doesn't matter if it's Lebanon or Jordan or Iran or wherever. Israel can do whatever the fuck it wants. 1 year, Canadians might have forgotten this, but Israeli agents did an assassination, and when caught, they were using fake Canadian passports. Hello! That should be a sign of trouble. But we have such a identity that we can justify the worst atrocities if it's done by our side. But if it's done by another side, well, shit. They still have a thing about arresting Putin if he leaves or goes into a Western country, arrest him for war crimes. What the fuck about Netanyahu? And not only Netanyahu, there's tons of military people, and that includes the ones who are supplying the weapons of death, weapons of kill. It's ridiculous. It's not human. I mean, most people around the world have their religion, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity. There's all the different, I can't name them all. I'm not a practitioner, but I do practice a lot of the teachings of the Christian Bible. You gotta have some values, ethics, and morals. Does Trudeau have any? Does Biden and the U.S. cabinets have any? Does Russia and Putin have? Or China? They're all religious. They will all pick up a Bible and dance with it and kiss it and praise it and whatever it is, Quran or whatnot. But then they just do whatever they want. They will go kill, destroy, not just kill people and destroy. What are they doing to the planet? That means just ordinary citizens around. What are they doing to make life better for other people? And no, it's not all our burden and something that we have to carry about or carry on our shoulders, but it's something that you should be aware of, that we have a responsibility. Now, my little responsibility over the years has been giving attention to political wrongs and loving nature and the beauty of our world, because even with all the crap going on, there is beauty. You can find it. Most people don't want to go look for it, or when they do see it, they don't even recognize it. You know, you can go up to the hillside with the yellow flowers and see people buzzing by there as fast as they can, dust flying in the air. They don't care about it. They don't see it, you know. They don't see the little bluebirds sitting around. They don't see any of that. And it's not only there, it's happening in the world. People don't see the beauty. They've given up on their ethics and morals. It's part of the problem has to be with finances, money, you know, either lack of it or have too much. But there's all kinds of issues like that. Now, Canada. I live in Canada. I was a proud Canadian for most of my adult life living in Canada. I came here when I was 9.5 years old, and I love Canada, and it stood for something. Let's see, I probably won't remember everything, but Canada stood for being fair, being nice, being friendly, being a peacekeeper. We were just Canadians. What the hell has happened to them? Because right now, you know, it's been a progression, but now to the Trudeau agenda, we're helping wars like Ukraine, giving weapons. By the way, mind goes strange. You know, we've given billions of dollars of military support to Ukraine, Zelensky. Have you seen the houses that Zelensky's inner circle has in the most luxurious places in the world? Million plus, multiple million mansions, villas. It doesn't matter if it's in Monte Carlo or London or wherever. They drive the fanciest cars. Man, you know, war is very fucking profitable for some people. Look at military-industrial complex. But what I was going to say is that we've given billions of dollars. What is the accounting on that? We, the fucking taxpayers, who are now going to be in debt up to 60 billion, not the debt is like hundreds of billions, but the interest, accumulated interest, is going to be $60 billion a year. 60 billion on interest. Now, does the government run businesses? Is it successful? No. If it was successful, it wouldn't be going into deficit over and over again. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. But I want you to keep something in your mind about the 60 billion that Canada is going to be paying in interest to probably the IMF, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and whatever other entity is in on this scheme. I can't even imagine what the US is paying in interest rates. But listen to this, $60 billion. How much would that be a day? Alexa, 60 billion divided by 365 is how much?
60 billion divided by 365 is 164,383,561.644.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Just doing my job.
$165 million a day. A fucking day. Trudeau should have pies in his face for this. It is disgusting. It is betraying Canada and our future. $165+ million going into deficit a day a day, $165 million a day. It's just like, when you get all the immigrants coming in. Oh, it's just a figure. Million immigrants in a year. Alexa, 1 million divided, Alexa, 1 million divided by 365.
1 million divided by 365 is approximately 2,739.726.
Okay, we can't house Canadians. We've got people living in tents, homeless. We got young people that have given up the hope of buying. They're renting a room or moving back home. By the way, this park that we live in, or I live in now, has so many elderly who moved in here in retirement, and now their kids are moving in with them, because a lot of these units have 2 or 3 bedrooms, and the kids can't live on their own. And I'm not talking about kids like 18, 19-year-old, 35, 40-year-old moving home because it's so expensive to live. They don't talk about this. Why the hell isn't that a major topic? We're talking about a trailer park where people are moving in with their parents. It's a sad world. Sad world, and politicians aren't going to solve it. They're just dragging us down deeper, deeper. It's like a quicksand. There's nobody, you can be reaching out, hoping for somebody to pull you out, but it ain't happening. You're gonna go down the toilet. And so Canada is getting really screwed. I think we're going to be so far in debt that we are going to be approached somehow or rather to join the United States of America one way or another. We do have resources. It's not only the resources, we have water. We got shoreline. We're on the Arctic. We're helpless without the United States. We can't protect ourselves. We can't do this. We can't do that. America is a crafty country. They will work very diligently to get Canadians to get so fed up that they want to be part of the American way of life, because that is so good. Just look across the border. See how happy the Americans are. There's so many things to talk about. Talking about Canada again. This morning, 28th of April 2024, there was a YouTube video from CPAC in Hungary. It's a conservative political action committee, I think is what it is, CPAC. And there were 4 politicians on the stage discussing conservatism, Hungary, and life in general. And all these 4 politicians elected, none of them live in Hungary. None of them. You know why? At the end of World War I, Hungary was divided by Western powers and had 2/3 of its land taken away and distributed. Romania? Yeah. Ukraine? Oh yeah, you get some. And whoever else, the countries that were on Hungary. 2/3 of its land was taken away. But those Hungarians haven't given up on their country, haven't given up on their history, haven't given up on their culture, on their language, on everything that they as Hungarians stand for. They haven't joined the Ukrainian or Romanian or whatever. They're Hungarians. They speak Hungarian. Cross the border and you'll find Hungarian newspapers, broadcasters, signs in Hungarian, all the different things. They love their homeland. Hungary basically came to be about 1,000 years ago. There were nomad tribes all over that part of the world, and they showed up in that valley which is a huge, I forgot what the hell it's called, but it's a big valley, perfect climate, soil, water, everything. They even have a lot of thermal baths. So, you know, in winter you can go have a nice hot bath in a pool, but they set up tribe there and have stayed forever. And is it wrong for them to want to keep Hungary for Hungarians? That's one of the big battles in Brussels right now, is because they want Hungary to open up the borders and let in all those immigrants, you know, that'll add to the country, that'll give it a different flavor. And Hungary says, no, Hungary is for Hungarians. Say, you know, that's it. Hungary is for Hungarians. And no person illegally will walk across the border and be welcomed. It ain't happening. They're going to be removed. They're going to be sent back to where the hell they came from. And that is not racism. That is the right thing. I mean, I talked about how these people outside of Hungary still maintain the culture and life and language and all that stuff. Canada, when I came here in '64, was such a beautiful place. So, you know, Canadians were beloved all over the world. When Canadians traveled, they had a Canadian flag on their back or on their pack or whatever. It was so popular that other Americans, you know, they didn't want to be recognized as Americans when they traveled to Europe, so they would put a Canadian flag on. That's all gone. In the last, I can't say 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but it has all been taken away. Yeah, Canada is no longer the peacekeeper. We're no longer the country that people think is, well, they're nice. You know, they're nice people in Canada. They won't say shit if their mouth is full of it. Canada has changed, and that change has to be reversed. We can't keep shoving, almost 2,700 immigrants into Canada per day when we get 1 million in a year, when we don't have homes for our people. You know, the news, again, a couple of days ago, was showing that something like 8.5 million Canadians suffered food insecurity in 2022, I believe is the year. 8 point something million. A lot of Canadians. And that's almost a quarter. What the fuck is with this country? It's so rich, so beautiful, so full of life that everything from housing to food, through everything, should be not an issue. Gas prices. Oh, fuck the bullshit about this global climate stuff. Understand that we're going to be using, and it's not fossil fuel, but petroleum products for the very foreseeable future. It's not democratic to force people to get rid of their vehicles and get a electric one, which we don't even know what the future is going to be. And by the way, another thing I have a real issue with is all these battery factories that Canada, the government, is giving money for. Again, deficit, up and away. We're giving 3 point something billion is the most recent, but there have been billions given away. So what is the electric car, the battery, a set science? It's not going to improve. Because already I've seen, you know, there's a lot of work being done with hydrogen, with different battery systems, all kinds of technology is jumping leaps and bounds. It is moving at a record pace. By the time they fucking break ground on these battery factories, they won't even be needed. Oh, but you know, they consider that, so what they can do is shift along the way. They can grow with it. They can change. As long as we pay. So we got private companies, Toyota is one of them, getting gazillions of taxpayers' money to make a product that will retail and make them a profit. Holy fuck, sign me up for that kind of business. Government, you set up my business and I'll just take some of the profit. There are so many things wrong, and our media, bought and paid for by the governments, by the elite people, they're so special, they're elite. And ordinary people are being driven deeper and deeper into debt down the economic scale. And it's bad. It is very bad. And it really frustrates me that so many people don't see it, aren't awake to it. And just, I don't know. It takes away hope. How do you have hope for 2025 when we don't know if the money is going to be still? Are we going to have digital currency? What's going to happen to the money situation? What's going to happen to the World Bank and the United States economically? What's going to happen to climate change? Climate change is an interesting topic again. Mine's always working. Look at these wars. Look at all that's being made for war consumption. They got to build a ton of new military equipment because it's so useless. We got to build more. That's how governments work. The reason I say military equipment's useless is, again, technology is moving fast ahead, and probably in another couple of years, a tank? Give me a fucking break. It'll be taken out by a tiny little drone or something. There's laser guns. There are all kinds of technology moving ahead, and we're stuck in the past, still thinking we need more guns, we need more bullets, more grenades. Oh yeah, there's a lot of people will have to be eliminated. So it's a sad, sad situation. War and equipping war is a dead end. It's build bullets, build whatever, ammunition, and then it gets blown up as soon as it arrives. So we need more. And we don't have any honest talk in the public. We don't have honest talk in universities and education centers. We don't even have honest talk between people here. Bring up Ukraine. Oh yeah, those damn Russians. You gotta kill every one of them. Putin's an evil dictator. They don't know the history of what happened in Ukraine and with Russia and how the West has interfered and all. They don't know that. They know what they see on CBC, or they know what they hear from friends. And that's the same all over the Western world. But there are people waking up now. And right now, one of the big wake-ups has to do with university students and saying no to Israel. They don't hate Jews. They don't want Israel destroyed. They want a ceasefire. Stop friggin' blowing up people. Almost, I think it's getting 30,000+ people have been killed and over 100,000 injured. Oh, can you imagine being injured in Gaza and the hospitals don't have any medication or even place for you or whatever? Bad time. We need more people to align and wake up. I wish we had something like the Fidesz party in Canada. That's that Hungarian party. Because the conservatives here will not change anything. They'll just fall right back on the same bandwagon as the liberals. And I can tell you exactly, first day after an election in Parliament in the House of Commons, you'll have liberals one side, conservatives the other side, and they go, isn't it wonder nothing gets done? They just attack each other over the stupidest thing. Gender pronouns. Oh, that's a big one. All kinds of different things that the neoliberals have injected into the global sphere to make sure that people are distracted from reality, what's happening, to make sure that people don't ask tough questions. It's very visible. Well, I think I've said enough for now, but please let me know what you think of the video, and thank you for watching. It is JCV Dude, the Angry Canadian. Thank you.